In the quiet shadows of history, a theory lingers like smoke from a distant fire, that the Iranian Revolution of 1979 was no spontaneous uprising, but a meticulously crafted psyop, masterminded by the Pahlavi family itself. The goal? To install a rigid theocratic regime that would provoke endless international sanctions, allowing the exiled royals to extract maximum value from Iran's frozen assets and resources, while living in luxury far from the chaos they helped unleash. All this, born from a deep-seated grudge against a people who had long resisted their vision of modernity. In January 1936, he issued the Kashfa Hijab Decree, banning the Islamic veil and forcing women into Western dress as part of his aggressive push for secular nation-building, inspired by Ataturk's reforms in Turkey. What followed was fierce backlash. In the holy city of Mashhad that July, massive non-violent demonstrations erupted at the Goharshad Mosque. Protesters occupied the sacred site, refusing to accept what they saw as desecration. Military vehicles and soldiers in 1930s Iranian uniforms surround the mosque. The contrast between the sacred architecture and military presence. Soldiers took positions around the mosque. Tension rose before the assault. Army surrounded the mosque and opened fire, killing an estimated 100 to 500 people, including women and children. Afterward, the courtyard fell silent, belongings left behind. Evidence of tragedy remained: shoes, rugs, cracked glasses, and grief. The massacre left a lasting scar on Iran's memory. The event scarred the national psyche, alienating religious conservatives and rural populations who felt their traditions trampled. Reza Shah's son, Mohammad Reza, who ascended the throne in 1941, carried this legacy forward. Young Mohammad Reza Shah faced a fragile throne. Power surrounded him, yet legitimacy stayed uncertain. Determined, he carried the heavy burden of succession. His 1963 White Revolution, land reforms, women's suffrage, and further modernization only deepened the divide with the Shiite clergy. According to the theory, these humiliations planted seeds of revenge in the Pahlavi bloodline. If Iranians rejected forced progress, perhaps forcing them back into old values would spark the opposite reaction, driving society toward modernity through sheer exhaustion and backlash. By the 1970s, the clock was ticking faster. Mohammad Reza Shah, now in his mid-50s, felt a lump in his abdomen during a 1974 skiing trip. He summoned his personal physician, who referred him to French specialists. In April 1974, Dr. Jean-Bernard and Georges Flandrin diagnosed him with a rare form of lymphatic cancer, Waldenstrom's macroglobulinemia, resembling chronic lymphocytic leukemia. The Shah kept it secret from the public and most officials to preserve stability. Chemotherapy began in September 1974 with chlorambucil, but his condition worsened steadily. His heir, Reza Pahlavi, born in 1960, was barely a teenager when symptoms first appeared, and only 18 by the revolution's peak, too young, inexperienced, and untested to hold the throne amid growing unrest. Exile seemed inevitable, but control could not be lost. International threads wove in suspiciously. On May 30th, 31st, 1972, U.S. President Richard Nixon visited Tehran, reinforcing the alliance under the Nixon Doctrine. Iran became America's regional pillar, armed heavily to stabilize the Gulf. Around the same time, Richard Helms, CIA director from 1966 to 1973, stepped down amid Watergate scrutiny. In a striking move, he was appointed U.S. ambassador to Iran from April 1973 to December 1976. This was no ordinary diplomat. Helms had overseen Project MK-Ultra, the CIA's infamous mind control program running from 1953 to 1973. On November 27, 1978, Tehran gathered under a full moon. People pointed skyward, convinced a sign had appeared. Whispers spread that a face was visible in the light. As 1978 unfolded, protests ignited over a slanderous article against the exiled Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Black Friday on September 8th saw security forces kill hundreds in Tehran's Jala Square. By December, strikes paralyzed Iran as rumors gripped the streets. State TV and mosques amplified the claim nationwide. Millions climbed rooftops chanting, "Allahu Akbar." Tehran's Mehrabad Airport, February 1, 1979. Massive crowds surged toward an arriving aircraft. The scene captures the overwhelming scale of the welcome. Thousands of people with raised fists and banners. The moment felt historic and irreversible. They claimed to see his features clearly, bearded, resolute, divine. The event swept the nation in hours, celebrated in thousands of mosques, boosting Khomeini's messianic aura. Historians call it collective hysteria, fueled by revolutionary fervor. But the theory points darker. MK Ultra-style techniques, perhaps LSD in water supplies, mass suggestion, or media orchestration, echoing Helms's experiments. Khomeini, from Paris exile, neither fully confirmed nor denied the miracle. He let the myth grow. The Shah fled on January 16, 1979. Khomeini returned triumphantly on February 1 to millions in Tehran. The monarchy collapsed February 11th. The Islamic Republic was declared April 1 after a referendum. The new regime reversed everything the Pahlavis had pushed. Mandatory hijab reinstated, strict Islamic codes enforced. The Shah died in exile on July 27, 1980 in Cairo, his cancer finally claiming him. In the aftermath, sanctions rained down, especially after the November 4, 1979, U.S. Embassy hostage crisis, isolating Iran economically for decades. The Pahlavis, scattered in comfort across the West, watched from afar. Reza Pahlavi, now in his 60s, lives in the United States, advocating for democracy. The theory posits this as the long game, a theocracy so repressive it would one day provoke internal revolt toward the very modernity the Pahlavis always desired, while sanctions funneled wealth their way through hidden channels and lobbying. No hard evidence proves orchestration by the family or CIA. Mainstream accounts blame economic inequality, Savak repression, oil boom mismanagement, and genuine religious revival. Yet the coincidences, the cancer timing, Helms's presence, the moon sighting's eerie precision, keep the shadow alive. In this telling, the revolution wasn't rebellion against the Shah. It was his final, bitter chess move against a nation that once dared resist him.